Todd Monken didn't just walk into Cleveland with a clipboard and optimism. He arrived with receipts. From Lamar Jackson to Stetson Bennett to Ryan Fitzpatrick, Monken has built his name not on system rigidity but on quarterback maximization. His arrival signals a direct challenge to the mold Cleveland's offense has clung to for years. And with Shedeur Sanders in the building, a quarterback long boxed in by schemes that undervalued his processing speed, instinctive touch and control under.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
Monken sees more than potential. He sees fit. Where others saw a fifth-round gamble, Monken saw a field general miscast by structure. His message to Sanders, "We tried to draft you last year," wasn't a pleasantry. It was a mission statement. Monken's belief system isn't hypothetical. It's hardwired into the way he evaluates, teaches, and calls games. Sanders isn't being asked to learn someone else's identity, he's being handed a framework built around his own. This isn't an overhaul. It's an alignment. One that removes schematic friction, retools around quick reads and spatial exploitation, and leverages Sanders' mobility not for spectacle, but for structure. For the first time in Cleveland's recent history, the offense isn't a proving ground, it's a platform. And with Monken behind the controls, Sanders isn't just set up to succeed. He's set up to lead. The Cleveland Browns have finally made a move that signals they're done messing around. After years of quarterback instability, offensive identity crises, and pure schematic confusion, the franchise is officially handing the keys to one of the NFL's most proven offensive minds, Todd Monken. And the implications of this hire? Absolutely massive, especially for Shedeur Sanders. Let's start here. Monken didn't just land in Cleveland. He was brought in with intent. This isn't a routine head coach switch. This is a franchise-level recalibration, a structural commitment to building around quarterback cognition, adaptability, and tailored development. And nobody benefits more from that shift than Sanders. The moment Monken stepped to the podium and said, "We tried to draft you last year," everything changed. That's not coach speak. That's an organizational tell. Monken wanted Sanders. Monken evaluated Sanders. And now, Monken gets to build around Sanders. Let's be clear, Shedeur Sanders is not a developmental project. That label needs to die. He's a high-functioning quarterback with elite field vision, top-tier spatial awareness, and a processing speed that gives him an edge before the ball is even snapped. His accuracy? Sure. His instincts? Refined. His athleticism? Criminally underrated. The only reason his ceiling looked capped before this was because he was stuck in systems that didn't fit how he actually plays. That's the part Monken is about to flip on its head. Because if there's one thing Todd Monken is known for, it's not forcing square pegs into round systems. He doesn't care about installing his playbook. He cares about creating one that actually works for his quarterback. That's how he turned Lamar Jackson into the most efficient passer in the league by 2024. That's how he turned Ryan Fitzpatrick into a career-best version of himself in Tampa. And that's how he took a physically limited Stetson Bennett and helped him win 2 national championships. Monken doesn't play favorites with skill sets. He plays to strengths. This is what makes the pairing with Sanders so explosive. Because what Sanders lacks in sheer speed compared to someone like Lamar Jackson, he makes up for with read speed, pocket manipulation, and improvisational IQ. He's not just capable of extending plays, he's strategic about how and when he extends them. Monken values that. He's always prioritized quarterbacks who can convert chaos into productive yardage without abandoning the play structure. It's also no coincidence that Monken's arrival coincides with a culture shift. The Browns are making it clear, Sanders is the guy. He wasn't dropped into the QB room as a low-stakes bench warmer. His name was part of the pre-screening interview process for coaching candidates. That's not accidental. That's a front office sending a clear message to the league, and to their new head coach. Sanders isn't a contingency. He's the centerpiece. And now, the Browns' offensive structure will finally reflect that. Monken has the credentials. His work in Baltimore is recent and relevant. In 2023, Lamar Jackson posted career highs in passing efficiency, accuracy, and volume. He won MVP. He made first-team All-Pro the following year. And Monken did all that not by boxing Jackson in, but by building a system that pulled every ounce of upside from his skill set. Motion-heavy, RPO-integrated, constraint-based play calling. Smart sequencing. Empirical results. That same methodology is now being aimed at Shedeur Sanders. Let's talk about Monken's philosophy, because it matters here. He doesn't treat quarterback development like a formula. He treats it like a living process. It's not about rigid schemes. It's about observing, adapting, and iterating based on the quarterback's real-world responses. That's why he's been successful with such a wide variety of QB styles. He's not a plug-and-play coach. He's a builder. This isn't theoretical. His history proves it. He took a completely broken 0-12 program at Southern Miss and turned it into a 9-win team. And that wasn't with a stacked roster. That was with smart design, precise coaching, and real player development. He doesn't need ideal circumstances. He creates functional ones. Which brings us to Cleveland's not-so-secret issue, the offensive line. It's a mess. That's not news. But Monkin has been here before. He studied the Patriots' 2023 to 2024 offensive turnaround closely. From worst in the league to Super Bowl contention, without overhauling personnel. Timing-based protections. Simplified pre-snap assignments. Scheme over star power. That's how Monkin plans to address Cleveland's line issues. Not by waiting for perfect pieces, but by building a system that works with what's available. And when you pair that with a quick processing quarterback like Sanders, you get protection by design, not by brute force. Now add in Monkin's disdain for internal politics. He's not interested in fighting for control. He takes control. He had full offensive autonomy at Georgia. Full command in Baltimore. And now, in Cleveland, he walks into a situation with zero ideological resistance. Jim Schwartz is gone. There's no competing power structure. No conflict between old-school defense and quarterback-first offense. The room belongs to Monkin now. That consolidation of authority is huge. It means faster installs. Cleaner execution. Fewer mixed messages. And in a young quarterback's development window, cohesion is everything. No more fragmented leadership. No more inconsistent play calling. Just alignment from top to bottom, with Sanders at the center. So what does this mean for expectations? It means we can finally stop talking about project potential and start talking about actual impact. Because Monkin's system isn't going to ask Sanders to be something he's not. It's going to enhance what he already is, a processor, a rhythm thrower, a quarterback who thrives when given just enough structure to read, react, and deliver. Expect Monkin to weaponize Sanders' mobility, not with gimmicks but with design. Boot action. Rollouts. Misdirection. Pre-snap motion to stress defenses and by Sanders' cleaner windows. It's not about turning him into a run-heavy dual threat. It's about using his athleticism strategically, on purpose, not accident. That's what makes this partnership feel different. Not experimental. Intentional. This is a full reset, not a patch job. It's a belief in Sanders' cognitive makeup, a recognition of his underutilized ceiling, and a rejection of the stale developmental timelines that have plagued Cleveland for years. The Browns aren't trying to mimic success anymore. They're trying to build it, by betting on behavior, by building around adaptability, and by handing full schematic control to a coach who's done it with less. So here's where we land. If this works, and there's every reason to believe it will, the Browns aren't just fixing their quarterback situation. They're rewriting their future. They're finally tapping into a modern quarterback framework. One that trusts intelligence over arm strength, improvisation over obedience, and flexibility over rigidity. And Shedeur Sanders? He's finally got a coach who sees him, not what he could be in someone else's system. So what do you think? Did Cleveland just quietly make the smartest coaching hire of the offseason? Is Sanders about to make the leap from interesting rookie to franchise cornerstone? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Like if you're ready to see what a real quarterback-centric system looks like, share this with someone who's been waiting for Cleveland to get it right, and subscribe for all the chaos, breakthroughs, and full-circle moments still to come in this absolutely wild new era of Browns football. Because if Monkin's track record tells us anything, this thing is about to take off. Let's talk about trajectory. Because that's what this really is now. The trajectory of a franchise, a quarterback, and a coach who've all been underestimated in different ways, and are now being aligned in the most precise, high-upside configuration Cleveland has attempted in years. Todd Monken wasn't brought in to fix the offense. He was brought in to redefine it. To design something built around cognitive speed, pocket mobility, and next-gen quarterbacking traits that don't always light up combine charts but win games when it matters. Traits that Shedeur Sanders just so happens to have in abundance. The old Browns would have buried that kind of quarterback behind schematic rigidity and traditional timelines. This new Browns regime? They're throwing the old playbook out entirely. The hiring of Monkin is proof they're no longer interested in grinding quarterbacks down to fit outdated molds. They're finally investing in elevation, not suppression. And that's why Monkin's past work matters so much here. Think about what he did with Stetson Bennett, a QB almost no one believed in outside of Athens. Not a first-round talent. Not an elite arm. But Monkin saw something else: anticipation, tempo control, smart eyes, quick decision-making. And he amplified it. Turned Bennett into a two-time national champion and a reliable operator in a system that demanded efficiency and mental processing. That exact skill set? Sanders already has it. Plus more physical tools. Plus more mobility. Plus the ability to extend plays without breaking structure. That's not a raw project. That's a system-ready starter who's been waiting for the right system. In other words, Sanders is the quarterback Monkin's been preparing to coach. And Monkin knows it. That "we tried to draft you last year" line wasn't a soundbite. It was a statement. A nod to their evaluation. A signal of intent. And maybe most importantly, it was a vote of trust. You can't overstate how important that is. Because trust is everything when you're building around a young quarterback. Not coddling. Not overprotecting. Just creating a system that reflects who they are, not who you wish they were. Monkin has proven time and time again that he doesn't need prototypical tools to win games. He just needs a quarterback who can read the field, react under pressure, and command the offense. Sanders checks every box. And now he finally has the infrastructure to prove it. Even Cleveland's roster issues, yes, including that still questionable offensive line, don't change the trajectory. Because Monkin's not the kind of coach who needs a Pro Bowl unit up front to function. He's done this before. With less. He knows how to neutralize pass rush pressure using quick-twitch play calls. He knows how to implement timing-based protections, shift pre-snap structures, and design around what's available, not what's ideal. He doesn't wait for the perfect version of a roster. He adapts to the one he has. So even if the Browns don't solve the line overnight, it won't stop this offense from evolving. That's what makes the Monkin-Sanders partnership so unique. They don't need perfection to succeed. They need alignment. And now they have it. The absence of defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz, who reportedly only wanted the top job, also clears up a ton. This isn't a divided coaching room anymore. It's a unified vision with Monkin holding philosophical and schematic authority. That means no power struggles. No offense versus defense dynamic. Just one voice. One system. One direction. That cohesion is rare. And for a young quarterback trying to grow fast, it's gold. Let's be honest, the Browns haven't had that kind of clarity in, what, a decade? This is the first time the front office, coaching staff, and developmental timeline are pointing in the same direction. They're not just hoping for Sanders to succeed. They're building a program around the assumption that he will. That's what makes this different. The commitment isn't passive. It's proactive. And for a quarterback who has often been miscast, first as a flashy name, then as a system QB, then as a maybe behind veteran placeholders, this is finally the setup that lets Shedeur just be himself. His athleticism doesn't need to be exploited. It needs to be integrated. His field vision doesn't need to be micromanaged. It needs to be trusted. His rhythm passing doesn't need to be coached out of him. It needs to be the foundation. Monkin knows that. His time with Lamar Jackson showed the value of amplifying an athlete's whole skill set, not just the parts that fit a spreadsheet. His work with Bennett showed how to elevate processing over power. And his past with Ryan Fitzpatrick showed he can maximize output even with journeyman tools. Now he gets to work with a quarterback who already has the blend of IQ, mobility, and touch. The offensive design will reflect that. You're going to see more boot action. More rollouts. More layered concepts that punish defenders who try to guess. You're going to see a quarterback moving with intention, not desperation. You're going to see a playbook that values timing and anticipation as much as arm strength. And most importantly, you're going to see Shedeur Sanders playing his game. Not some diluted, overcoached version. The real thing. That's why expectations should be high, not because of hype but because of alignment. Because the Browns are finally playing smart, developmental football. They're not following the same slow burn model that kept them in neutral for years. They're not handing the system to a quarterback and saying, "Figure it out." They're handing the quarterback the system and saying, "We built this for you." That's what Monkin brings. That's what makes this moment matter. And if you're a Browns fan who's waited for a future you could actually believe in, you finally got it. Everything that's happened up until this point, every season spent searching for an identity, every quarterback carousel, every failed offensive guru experiment, it all leads here. The Cleveland Browns finally made a call that says they're not just trying to compete. They're trying to evolve. And they're putting the evolution in the hands of two men, Todd Monken and Shedeur Sanders. This isn't a rehab project. It's not a culture reset. This is a structural redesign with a quarterback-centric blueprint at its core. Let's be blunt. Monken's arrival marks the death of system-first coaching in Cleveland. 4 years, Browns' offenses were dictated by pre-built schemes that asked quarterbacks to adapt, fit in, and not disrupt the structure. But Shedeur Sanders is the structure now. The entire thing is being designed around him. This shift is both overdue and radical. Overdue because the Browns have had pieces, talented ones, but no one willing to truly build with the quarterback instead of in spite of him. Radical because the NFL doesn't often give this level of schematic control to a rookie quarterback. But Sanders isn't your typical rookie.